Hey, welcome back, weather junkies, to the channel, geeks and fellow weather nerds. I'm Greg Majeski, your personal weatherman, giving you the weather without all that social media hype. So this is your update here on Sunday, on August the 25th. Let's go and take a look at our weather headlines for today, as we're going to be tracking the expanding heat wave across a big portion of the country as we go into the new work week. We're also going to be looking at severe rests. In fact, we're looking at an enhanced area of severe weather we're expecting as we go into your Monday. I'll show you the specifics on that here in a second. And yeah, guess what? This morning we got a hurricane going by the island of Hawaii, the big island just to the south of there. I'll show you that here in just a second. And if you'd like to make this weather update a regular feed in your YouTube feed, all you got to do, please subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content, and give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below. It really does help as I try to build the best weather platform out there for you guys, and I can sure use your help. All right, let's go ahead and look at the satellite imagery here across the nation for this morning. Looking very good. The eastern third of the United States looking pretty good. Got a few showers down here in Florida, old boundary, just kind of washing out down here toward the south. Quiet here in the middle of the country. We got some rain activity out here in the west. I've actually had some unusual rains falling across areas of California and Nevada over the last 24 hours or so. As we take a look at the surface map, the big feature here is the high that was bringing the cooler air. It's moving on off. Look at this warm front boundary here. We've got a surge of some very warm air that's coming in here out of the south. Look at these readings here this morning. 77, 79 degrees already early in the morning here on your Sunday. It gives you an idea of just how warm and toasty it's going to be. We've got numerous advisories up this way. Cooler out in the west, though. We got 40s and 50s out here. This feels pretty nice. 43 there in Nevada. Oh, that looks pretty good right there. But the cool weather is now shifting out here to the west. Well, it's warming up big time here in the central portion of the country. In fact, as we take a look at your latest watches and warnings here, look at the surge here of all these weather advisories in here, heat advisories in here, as well as excessive heat warnings in here. This is a heat warning watch in here across portions of Illinois and going into Indiana. But it's going to be quite warm, and we're going to see more of this kind of color fill in here across the deep south in the Ohio River Valley as we head for this work week ahead. So going to give you the heat wave alert here on this one as this moves on. Notice we also have a couple of advisories up here for the hurricane warning and tropical storm warning. Yeah, it's because we've got this hurricane that's got organized here. This is Hone here south of the big island of Hawaii. So here's the Hawaii ocean view here. It should have stayed to the south. Some squally weather here on the big island here predominantly. Not expecting hurricane force winds. Maybe some gusts maybe here on the southern coast potentially. But this will slide off toward the south of the main island. Should not be heading up toward Honolulu. Should be pretty good up that way. Maybe some outer squalls there. But some rough surf. I'm sure the surfers will be out in force here on the island of Hawaii. Now, what about our weather city of the day? What's our weather city for the day? I thought I'd pick Gatlinburg, Tennessee. You know, if you want to go to a place that has some of the best fall foliage, I couldn't highly recommend Gatlinburg here. Good place to go, especially with the heat wave that's going to be coming on to the east for today. We're expecting sunny skies here in Gatlinburg and high temperature of 88 degrees. So at least it's not in the 90s, so you get a little bit of a break there. And if you would like to recommend your city as the weather city of the day, and you got a great webcam, go ahead and post that link down below, and I'll go ahead and I'll grab that and we'll use it for a future broadcast. All right, now we're going to go ahead and shift over and talk about the severe weather threat that we're going to be looking at coming our way as we head toward the new work week. Now, this is for this afternoon. This is for Sunday, okay? So we're looking at a slight risk for severe weather coming in here on this day. So we're looking at areas toward Minnesota and into the Dakotas. That's your little area for today. But tomorrow is the bigger concern for me. Obviously, we're looking at an enhanced area of severe weather here coming in here as we head into your Monday. So that's going to be kind of a weather alert day. Need to watch out for the potential for some active weather in that area here. So we're talking about this area in here where the orange is. So we're looking at that enhanced. There's numerous severe thunderstorms are expected in that zone. Not to mention the fact that we're probably going to be dealing with a tornado risk as well, as we're looking at about a 5% chance for tornadoes there. We're kind of right there on the boundary between South Dakota, Iowa, Minnesota, and maybe just touching the state line there of Nebraska. So that's going to be our target zone, probably falling for late tomorrow afternoon for the potential for the severe weather. So look out for that. And then this weather will begin to shift off toward the east as we go into your day 3 going into Tuesday. This will shift over into the Great Lakes. So we're talking about cities like Milwaukee, Chicago, getting over toward Detroit. Those big cities could be impacted with, again, some very strong gusty winds, isolated tornadoes. I think the tornado threat will diminish a little bit on this day, but definitely a high wind threat here as we go into your Tuesday. for this upcoming week. Now, the next update here, again, we keep talking about the tropics, and they continue to remain unusually quiet. It continues to be very quiet. And there's several reasons for that. The environment just hasn't been conducive for the fact we've had Saharan dust out there, but all indications are that should diminish as we enter the month of September. So we're about a week away. Peak of the hurricane season is September 10th. So I do anticipate this to start ratcheting back up. What we are watching out there for this morning is we do have a couple of hurricanes. Obviously, we have Hone that's going by south of Hawaii right now, and we have Gilma, which is a major hurricane, 130-mile-per-hour winds. But that particular storm looks like it's going to stay to the north of Hawaii. So I'm not anticipating that to be a big problem here for that one. And this storm here, not formed just yet. This one here probably is going to become Hector, and we'll watch that one here in the coming days to see what happens with that particular storm. Now, as far as the storm that's closer to Hawaii for this morning, well, here's the track. Again, keeping it south of the island. We do have that tropical storm warnings up there across the island, the big island right now, but it should stay far enough away from the other islands to not be too big of a factor. In fact, it will start to weaken as it goes to tonight and then move on to the west and shouldn't be too big of a problem there. But you can see the top winds are at 80 miles per hour. And again, the pressure 991 millibars, which isn't really all that bad, but a definitely well-organized, healthy-looking system as we saw there on the radar that we started this program with. All right, let's talk about the peak of the hurricane season. Again, this is September, and I'm telling you, my outlook right now for the month of September, based off the ingredients and stuff out there, and I've seen some folks get a little aggressive. I'm thinking 6 to 8 named storms for the month of September. I've seen some people going up as high as 10. I'm going to be a little more conservative with this, probably closer to the climatological average. 6 to 8, it's been such a weird season this year. What should be a very, very busy season. We have a lot of latent heat, ocean heat out there. The Gulf of Mexico is extremely warm right now. And I do expect we're going to see some storms start to form. But for the short time, as far as the short time is concerned, it continues to be not a major problem. In fact, it continues to look pretty quiet here over the next 10 days. Let's go ahead and look at the European model. We'll go ahead and get into the model data here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the European overnight model here out for 10 days. And as I'm looping this through, again, you're watching the intertropical convergence zone. This is where we typically look. This is where we're watching to see if something develops in that red zone, like we just showed you, just to kind of see where we're going to get things to develop. And right now, going out 10 days, as I'm looping this through, and you got that timestamp there in the upper right-hand corner as you're going in toward the end of the month and going in toward a Labor Day weekend, not showing anything developing right now for the next 10 days. It is looking all quiet out there for the next 10 days. Now, I want to advise folks, if you're seeing anybody out there in the YouTube universe that is showing potential tropical scenarios beyond 10 day for sure, take it as a grain of salt, because the model data, the error rate gets so high, especially 7 to 10 days. You go beyond 10 days, you're really putting in some guesswork, and it's where the models tend to lock on to climatology, what history tells you we should be seeing. So really, don't go beyond 10 days. That's my recommendation as far as tropical activity. Again, we may get storms beyond the 10 day. Not going to rule that out. You can't, because you're in the heart of the hurricane season. Just from a model perspective, it's really a little bit of guessing work at that point when we get to that point. Now let's go ahead and talk about what we're expecting here in the continental United States as we look at the weather data here for the next week, as things are going to be getting pretty busy here. Let me switch over to that. Again, we're going to be watching that severe weather risk as we go in throughout the day heading into tomorrow. In fact, what I probably need to do, let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and switch over to the high resolution model. We'll do the short run here first. All right, and we'll back this up. We're going to watch this model run here, and we're going to go out for about the next, we'll use the 6Z run here. We'll go out for the next 72 hours here, so we'll kind of see what's going on here with the high resolution model. So we're going to be watching the areas there in the high plains, okay, as we go throughout the day here. As we're going on through here, the 6Z, seeing those storms here flaring up here across areas of the Dakotas. So that's going to be the area we're watching going throughout the day on Monday. And then this, you see the big blow up there late in the run as you go past 6 o'clock. So we're going to be watching this area in here across Minnesota and Dakotas. This will be the target zone for some potential severe weather, as well as isolated tornadoes. There's going to be a lot of CAPE there, which is energy to fuel these storms. Probably be a little bit of helicity there as well to kind of perhaps give us some possible tornadoes there. Definitely some very gusty winds up to 80 miles per hour. Could not rule that out for sure with this as this continues to move off toward the east. And you see that really kind of gets very hectic in there. It is very, very active in there for tomorrow evening going into the early overnight period there. So begins about 6, goes into the late hours. Of course, I hate that when you get those kind of storms that flare up overnight. Nighttime, you can't see anything. So I highly recommend, if you're in this part of the country, make sure you have a weather app, and please make sure that you do have a weather radio. Those are the great things. You put that alert on, it'll come right on for you. Really helps you and keep you safe there if you do get something in your neighborhood. All right, let's switch it back over to the European model here. We're going to go run this through the rest of this forecast model. Again, watching that severe weather risk as we go in through Monday. The European showing that as well, going up into the Dakotas and into Minnesota. And then it looks like that goes into the Great Lakes. So we're going to be watching this area as we go into late in the day of Tuesday into Wednesday. This will be your target zone from Tuesday morning into Wednesday morning, as we showed you there on the day 3 outlook. That'll be the target zone for severe weather there on that day. And then as we look at the rest of the model run, this will start to pull on out into the northeast, and we'll see things begin to quiet down there as we go into going into Wednesday. So things begin to slow down here a little bit on that. So going out to the rest of the European run, as we're going back to the 0Z here, again, watch another frontal system coming in as we go into Thursday. We'll have to watch this one as well to see if this cold front is going to set up any severe weather. This is the one that's going to finally beat back the heat wave that we're anticipating. It's going to be sitting over a big chunk of the country, at least early in the week. As we go toward, let's say, Thursday to Friday, this will start beating back that heat wave that we're going to have. It's going to be quite prominent, and this will kind of settle things down. It'll sweep the northeast and then kind of sit here and kind of stall across the south, I think, the way it's looking. It looks like it gets across the Carolinas, the deep south, and back over toward Texas. So we'll have the humidity back in here, but at least the rain chances will be going up, and we'll definitely have the cooler weather here moving in behind this system coming across the high plains and into the northeast. Not as cool as what we saw with the previous cool down, but at least it'll knock the temperature down from that extreme heat that's going to be moving in here for a few days. And as we take this out to the end of its run, again, it stays unsettled for the southeast and along the Texas Gulf Coast, but most of the country not looking too bad once we get that next system. So we got that weak system coming in early in the week, and we got another one here for Thursday, Friday, Saturday that should clear on out. And then looks like Labor Day weekend shouldn't be all that bad for a big part of the country. Let's go take a look at the temperature anomalies. Again, we want to back this up. We want to talk about how we're going to be impacted there with the extreme heat. Again, this is the temperature anomaly map, so you can kind of say goodbye to that nice little cool little patch of what's left of it here across these. This is moving on out, getting lost out of here. You see the heat that's building here in the middle of the country, thus those advisories we started this broadcast with, showing you where that heat was going to be sitting there, hot and steamy across a big part of the country. Those feel like temperatures, again, running well over 105 degrees. And this will be pushing off toward the east. You see how hot it is here on Monday. I mean, wow, that's why they got the extreme heat across the Midwest, because temperatures are going to be running well above normal for this time of year. But luckily, we got that front coming on that Thursday. Remember, we got that moving on through. But it's going to stay hot there across a big part of the southeast, the Midwest. It kind of expands as we go into Tuesday. Again, a bigger area here. A little bit of cool down here across the high plains, across the Dakotas, back over to Wyoming. And we got another little cool shot here coming out here on the West Coast. We'll watch that closely as well. And if we continue this forward here, as we're going to watch that frontal system come in on Thursday. Here it comes. See it kind of rolling in there out from the west there. As we're going to get that frontal system moving in, it's going to beat back this heat wave, which is going to continue to hold on across the eastern portion of the United States a little bit here. This is only cooler because of the increased rain chances across South Texas. That's what you're seeing down there with that increased rain risk, and thus you're obviously going to be a little cooler there. That makes sense, right? More cloud cover. All right, so we're going to bring this frontal system in. It's going to roll this thing on through, and it's going to beat things down. It's not a big cool pool like the last one, but it's going to be enough to beat back at least the severe heat. So by the time we get toward Tuesday, the day after Labor Day, into the following week, you notice that we've got a significant cool down here, although it warms up big time here in the high plains on the back side of this. But it does look like we get temperatures back off from the extreme heat, at least in the short term here. So some good news there. So we're kind of making that transition. You kind of get that feel. We're getting in the late summer. We're not quite into fall just yet. We're still about, a little less than a month away, but you can feel that transition coming as we're starting to get the little more active frontal pattern taking place, which is important to watch, because the more active the frontal pattern is, will have any impact on tropical development, on whether we get something that comes up the east coast, curves back out to sea, gets pulled into the Gulf of Mexico. So that overall weather pattern has to be watched very closely to see how it impacts any potential tropical impact as we go into the month of September. Let's take a look at the latest from the Climate Center here. We did have a couple of updates here I do wanted to give you, as it did expand a little bit that cooler weather that's coming down here. This again is for August 30th through the 3rd here. You see this little pocket of cool down. Very hot here across the southeast. We were expecting that as we go into Labor Day weekend, but we are going to see a front moving on in. One change here from yesterday is we expanded the rain chances here significantly. So above normal precipitation, dry here along the upper tier part of the United States and into the southwest, and then this cool expands out with below normal going into the 7th. That's kind of what I just showed you there on that model there on the European, showing that cool air kind of settling in from the northeast into the southeast, although it's kind of still keep it slightly above normal here across the deep south, but big time warm up here in the west. And I think this may actually shift a little bit just based off that model data we just looked at the European. This may kind of moving a little bit more toward the Dakotas, but we do have a nice cool down here coming down here as we head from September 1st through the 7th. This is important to track these because anything tropical, if you got a big trough coming in, it's going to take it off the sea, or it could pull it up into the Gulf of Mexico. It's all depending on the track and timing. That's what it's all about. And as far as precipitation outlook, continue with above normal precipitation here along the eastern seaboard, back across the southwest, and below normal precipitation continuing right along the Canadian-U.S. border there from Michigan all the way back over toward areas of Washington State, and still looking at below normal precipitation there across the southwest. A little unusual because, monsoon season, you think they'd be getting a little more wet activity out there for this time of year. So anyway, that is your weather update here for your Sunday morning. I really like this new look. I really like this opportunity to give you guys a regular daily update on weather feed when I'm here at home and I'm able to do it. I'm going to give that out for you. And if you'd like to make this a regular feature in your YouTube feed, again, just hit that subscribe button. I'm fighting a war with the YouTube algorithm. The more people that respond to subscribing to the channel, as well as giving me a thumbs up, leaving a comment, it reaches a bigger audience. So in order to grow the channel, I need your help. So please consider that. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. Give me that big thumbs up, as I do appreciate your guys' support of the channel. All right, that's your update on your Sunday. Hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend until we see you again. Be good, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.